Hi, my name's Ryan.
I'm Congress.
Nice to meet you, Congress.
Nice to meet you.
Well, the one thing I think you should focus on in the 2014 session is the Common Core initiative.
Can you refresh my memory on what Common Core is?
Well, basically the Common Core is a federal initiative to standardize all standards across states and districts throughout the United States so that all students are learning the same material throughout kindergarten through 12th grade.
And why would you like me to focus on Common Core?
The standards set by Congress do not work for everyone. This chart above shows the standards in 2013 and their passing rates in low-performing schools. New York City only passed 30% of the time in both math and English, and this is far too low. This shows that the standards don't work for everyone because the low-performing schools cannot meet the standards, and it doesn't send kids to college, which is the main purpose of the Common Core.
Kentucky, which was one of the first states to implement the Common Core test system, simply shows that the Common Core does not work. Kids who were originally earning D's are now earning B's and A's as a result of lowering standards. This is also changing the idea around the public school system, because parents are now wanting their kids to go to private Christian schools, which are reflected by better test scores as opposed to the public school system, which is more for underprivileged kids traditionally.
Student performance varies state by state. This chart shows the variance in all 50 states. Maryland has the best achievement levels, and Iowa has the worst. Asking Iowa to achieve at the same level Maryland students have to achieve at is unreasonable. This is why the Common Core should be changed, so that they all have an equal opportunity at going to college.
Another reason why people are so against Common Core is because it takes away the power from the parents and the teachers. Common Core sets standards, things that teachers have to go by. They don't have a choice anymore to develop lesson plans. Parents have no say in their kids' education anymore, and classes become more about standards and less about learning information for college. One group in particular that agrees with the Common Core initiative is the National Governors Association. This is a group of all the governors throughout the United States. Their idea was that if we set standards for all students, no matter what their background, they'll have a chance at success and to go to college. This is modeled after Finland's education system. Finland, which has one of the best education systems in the world, also follows a set of standards. The only difference between Finland and the United States is that the United States is a lot more culturally diverse, and trying to set standards for all citizens is simply not effective.
In about 2009, there had been a rising chorus of discussion about academic standards and how they varied from state to state, and the tests that states used to see if students had mastered those standards. They were different what they call cut scores or cutoff points for proficiency. So some states had much higher expectations for children than others, and that was disturbing to a lot of policymakers on a lot of levels. There was rising concern about international competitiveness and whether we were producing kids who were uniformly ready enough to compete in a global marketplace.
Well, I understand your position, but the reason that we enforce Common Core the way it is because it raises standards, and standards raised allows kids to go to college, and we want more kids going to college. So if we set standards and kids in schools reach these standards and their math and English scores raised, then more kids go to college, and that benefits the whole of the United States.
Well, I see where you're coming from with that topic, but I also know other people that highly disagree with the Common Core and believe that it shouldn't be implemented at all. For one, the standards and testing show no originality, and it's similar to when communist Russia was around and they were only pumping out Soviet men under certain qualifications to make all men equal in the army and to create a strong army, which simply doesn't work because you're creating one group of people that's all the same. People don't have the chance to excel at their own arts and what their own talents are. Another reason why Common Core isn't effective is I, for one, know that schools, even in districts, are different. Nationalizing standards across the nation for every school in the nation is one thing, but doing Common Core district-wide, even that has its issues. Like, for example, Scripps Ranch High School and Lincoln, which are 20 minutes away, are completely different with their demographics of their students and where they're at in different places, and setting standards for them would be extremely difficult.
The bottom line is standards work, and they have worked for a long time.
I agree with you that standards have worked for for decades, and they're a good thing, ultimately. But requiring the whole United States to abide by certain standards just simply isn't reasonable. And it's asking students to do something that shouldn't be asked of them. Standards have worked, but the idea is that if we're going to ask all students nationally to abide by the same standards, no matter where they're from, their financial history, anything like that, it's just unreasonable, and it's simply not fair for lower privileged students and for students who are excelling throughout school.